Methodology is the most important thing when you are writing an academic article, a book, an investigation. In order for any of us to reach objective realities out there, to learn what is going on in any question that we would like to find answers to, we need systemic investigations. That's methodology. Without a sound methodology, there is really no science. Because of that, I wanted to start the introduction and the important points and findings of my book titled De-Essentializing Refugees, Perceptions, Experiences, and Becoming of Syrians in Turkey. I wanted you to focus on how I approach the topic methodologically. I like to start with a little anecdote. Anecdotes are important because they tell you how a lot of ideas spread out for silencing voices, right? So when I'm writing this, of course, Syria is a very complex country with very many different identities in it. And the historical colonization created a lot of frictions and tensions within this beautiful country, right? Like many other places in the world. So then within these cleavages that have been created, when you are writing about such a country, people always have an idea about if the representation is right, if the other people that they are hearing about are correct, factual. And it's actually an important question, isn't it? One such person who was very keen to their own identity told me that after reading one of my articles, one of the first published articles about this, somebody mentioned that they couldn't express themselves as Kurdish people and they felt like third-class citizens, no, second-class, third-class citizens. And in their IDs, they are mentioned as Arab Syrians. I'm reading that he says, we all know that Kurds exist. What is this? This is not, and then I said, but this is their experience. The conclusion there came to be, so they're spreading lies and you write lies about it. That's not what it is, of course, right? What this is, methodologically, is that acknowledging how people experience themselves. When you are standing from a position that is different outside of that particular experience, and then particularly when you are on the, let's say, a dominant position for one reason or another, in depending on one identity or another, for you everything is seen differently. Who are these people? Why are you talking to these kinds of people? And then adding to me, if you want, I can make you meet with the real Syrians, right? And that's actually quite an interesting statement, because when you say, I can arrange you to interview real Syrians, what are you saying suddenly is that who you talk to are not the real Syrians, right? It's not that you are lying either, but who has the right to be voicing their experiences more becomes the reality. So then we are talking about the issue of what constitutes reality there. For me, it is the very precise, very essential thing to be understanding where people are coming from. If there is a way that you can hold on to this, right, that people can, through their experiences, through what they are giving you as an example, what is written in an ID card, for example, and how that makes them feel about it, is very much connected to what they are saying. They're not just making up stuff as they are going along. So then methodologically, we do really need to be seeing the points of connectability and believability. We do really need to be understanding this concept really well and opening our minds to it. When we are part of communities and we're not part of science, it's very easy for us not to look at, but when we are part of the scientific community, even though we feel very passionately about our own communities, right? It's inevitable we're not going to be feeling it that way because we are born into communities and we have a sense of belonging there. As science requires us, we do really need to take a step back to see and be able to use tools to see how people really explain themselves and experience themselves. We can't just keep denying what they are feeling. So starting with epistemology, which is an important word, without getting too complicated with the matter, it is about the foundations of knowledge. Where do you think knowledge exists? Where can we reach knowledge? For me, that is the experiences of people. If I want to, in other words, understand war and the realities of war, I would like to focus on how people experience war. There are many different ways that this knowledge could be acquired, and the foundations of the knowledge, the systemic ways of looking into where to find knowledge could be investigated. You may look at the state's policies, right? And then you can see the statesman, the leadership as the basis of knowledge, or you can only look at the authority figures within the scientific community itself. So it depends on your approach and where you are coming from. For me, that is in my own writing and on my own academic investigations, it is always the experiential position of individuals who live in societies. I'm mostly interested to political sociology, so I'm looking into how individuals who constitute the society experience being part of it depending on whatever I'm investigating. Let that be about identity, war, right? Or being part of institutional settings. I do care about the lived experiences, life world as a phenomenological word of the lived experience of the people, being consciously aware that people are experiencing themselves. What does that tell us? So epistemologically for me, looking into refugees, people who are titled as refugees and experiencing themselves in another country, what is the war experience like and what it means to be forced outside of their own country and thrown into another social structure was the driving force of my research. When you are looking into people, it's very important to talk about voice. I do have a lot of interest to writings about voice. There are some people who talk about it when they're writing or talking in conferences of giving voice to others. I do not come from that methodological lens of understanding what I am doing. I do firmly believe that people do have their own voices. They may be silenced. We may not be given enough tools to hear it, but they do nevertheless know about their own experiences. They are the experts of their lives. And those voices for me, I'm not giving them voice, but I'm trying to create a conversation. That's why I use the metaphor of conversation, literally and metaphorically, that through that conversation and intersubjective meaning making, we will understand each other. I do have a video about bias and subjectivity. When I'm saying subjective, it doesn't mean that they are lying or they are looking at it without a factual base, right? But this is their understanding, and the combination of our understandings, all of those things, is going to be creating the meaning that will be meaningful for us to understand how the society is running. This is the voice that I am interested is to be surfaced, right? And the connections of that to be articulated with the combination of various different voices. In the next video, we will talk about situated knowledges, purposeful sampling, contextualizing the study, the role of the researcher, how to start an interview, and what is respondent fatigue. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you benefit from it, to like it, and turn on the bell so you can hear about the next videos. See you soon.